Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are going to start our class today. Before I go ahead and explain the necessary information for the analysis of the character of Jimmy Porter today, I would like to remind you of what we did last time. We started analyzing the character of Jimmy Porter after we finished the plot already. Started explaining the character of Jimmy Porter according to two elements. The first element, or the first school, Aristotelian school. And we explained his own character as a modern tragic hero. We also explained what is the difference between the traditional tragic hero and the modern tragic hero, and what are the qualities of the modern tragic hero and why it applies on Jimmy Porter, exactly as it applies on Hamlet as well, right? And therefore, right, we also analyzed his own character, or mentioned, not analysis, because it was mentioned, through the imagery of the play from animalistic point of view. And what I mean by that, okay, that the animalistic imagery inside the play explains the character of Jimmy Porter as being a bird, furious, angry, tough, lonely, without a herd, right, to comfort him, without a family, no one shares his own ideas, his own interests. And we started to talk about his own character according to, right, to the time analysis, how we would like to analyze to his own character from a time point of view. But before I start analyzing this, I ask you to go, right, and to read a poem for Edwin Arlington Robinson, and it is called Manever Chivi. And I asked every one of you to read it, because if you understand this poem, you will be able to understand what I am going to talk about today, right? Manever Chivi is a character of a modern tragic hero as well. So, and I asked that you to reflect on your understanding of Manever Chivi. So is there anyone who would like to start beside Nadia Siam? I see that Nadia Siam and Batul Matar are the only ones raising their own hands. I asked every one of you, right? And I might ask randomly to make sure whether you read the poem or not. We will start by a chronological order. Make it short, explain your ideas. We will start with Nadia Siam.
Okay, hello everyone. I read the poem and I kind of made a comparison between the character of Miniver Shivi and of Jimmy. I will briefly read what I wrote. Well, both of them are individuals who feel that they were born in the wrong time. They are unable to integrate in their societies. They feel detached from their generation, and they long for a time of greatness. Both of them are likely to be living in a modern time, maybe the 20th century. We already know that Jimmy lives in the 20th century after the decay of the English society, after the Second World War. And Miniver Shivi must also have lived around the same time. I kind of deduced this from the reference to the khaki suit, because that is like the clothing of people in the modern time.
That's right.
Both of them will express their frustration in their own way. Jimmy expresses his frustration through anger, violent, hurtful verbal abuse, and Miniver expresses himself through dreaming, thinking, crying, drinking alcohol, and not working.
Is there
They
something similar, both of them, which is the idea of inability to change, so they give up?
Yeah, well, I wanted to actually talk about this. Actually, kind of also saw this in the both of their characters, but I felt that the character of Jimmy is more of an active character. He is at war. At the end of the play, he is at war with the world and its problems, and he hasn't given up on the possibility of change. This is what I felt.
Yeah,
Uh, and
that's
also, like
fine.
he is, yeah, but
Uh,
like for men,
but do you think Meneverchidi is at war with the world or not?
I think not, because he kind of attributed all his misfortunes to fate, and he kind of at the end of the
Right.
poem,
What are the reasons that are attributed? I mean, Jimmy Porter attributes his own problem. I mean, you said
he blames it on the
Meneverchidi
world.
attributes his own problems to fate. How about
Yes,
Jimmy Porter?
well, he attributes them to the world,
Yeah.
but I feel that he also sees that if only people could woke up, this could change. But
Well,
for
right.
Miniver, it felt
Oh,
that I felt that there
continue,
is no
Nadia,
change.
continue. I'm going to give chance for others. Maybe others, they will have, right, yani, complete your own ideas. Continue, please.
Okay. So I wanted to also talk about what time they wish they have lived in.
That's good.
Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy wishes to have lived in a specific time that isn't very far away from the time in which he's already living. He wishes to have lived in a century before, approximately, when the English Empire, along with its values and traditions, it was great and dominant. A time where the young generation was also was
Are you
able to
sure?
about the English Empire.
Yeah, about what you are saying about, I mean, the desire of Jimmy Porter, because if he desires to live right in a century before, how does he look back in 9 years?
Well, not a I don't mean like literally a century, but it is like the time where the English Empire was still there before, like
Well,
before
fine,
the
which
Second
means
World
one
War.
century before. I mean the past, which is a near past. Are you sure that he is not angry with the near past?
I felt that from what I read in the play
Well,
that
let's see Meneverchivi. What kind of past that he would like to live in? Is it the near past or the far past?
yeah, he wishes to have lived in a non-specific time. Overall, the eras he yearns to have lived in are not close in time to the age he lives in,
All
and they
right,
range from
look
the
at this.
Greek.
Menever loved the Medici, right? Do you know
That is
the
the
time of the
Renaissance.
Medici?
Yeah, the Renaissance
Now,
time. The time of the Renaissance, yeah, 16th century,
right,
somewhere
is
like
it?
that.
Good, but it means actually, right? This time is not in the 16th century. The 16th century, we are looking for the time of the Romance. He
Yeah,
mourned
that
romance.
is the Middle Ages, yeah.
All right, he mourned the romance, which means we are talking about 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400.
I think he's not certain what he want about what he wants, because he also like made like reference. He also made reference to the Greek Empire and the Trojan War. So, like, he's not very specific about what time he really wants to
He's
live in.
very specific, please. He's very specific. He has references which are referring to the time, the far past, not the near past, right? He lives at the time of the Romance, the time in which we have heroes, in which we have swords bright and steed, right? We're prancing. What is this time? It is the time of the romance. Do you know the time of
Yeah,
the
the
romance?
show.
The chivalric time. When,
Yeah.
right, the time of the knights. King Arthur,
Yeah.
right? Yes, are you done?
I just wanted to say one last thing that, well, ironically, while Jimmy, that's like my own understanding of his character, has a character that is truly different from his own generation and that could fit in the time of greatness. But I felt that the character of Miniver doesn't seem to, he doesn't seem to have a character of a hero or a warrior because he himself
Yes.
said that he doesn't want to work, although he
How
has the chance
about
to.
Jimmy?
I think he doesn't have the chance, like he is not even given the chance to work while he is also,
But does he
but he
have,
is willing to work.
don't go far away from the question, please. Right? You
Yeah.
said Miniver doesn't have the character of the hero. Do you think Jimmy Porter has the character of the hero?
Well, I felt that Jimmy doesn't really want to be a hero in the term that Miniver wants to, but he wants to be like to live a decent life in which he can actually work. So
Thank you. Are you
I feel
done?
like their desires are not the same.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very thoughtful. Right? You did
Thank you.
well.
Thank
Batul
you so much.
Matar,
Yes, sir.
go ahead. It's your turn.
Okay. Yes. For Miniver Chivi is one of the narrative poems which was written by the American poet Edwin Robinson in 1910. I really enjoyed reading it because of its strange theme, although it's a gloomy, sad one, which tells us about someone called Miniver Chivi. First, I like the beginning lines, which introduce the problem of Miniver when he said he wept that he was ever born and he had reason. Miniver loved that the day of old. So we already know we have already known the theme of this narrative story or narrative poem. Miniver Chivi is unhappy because I think he's like a depressed, unhappy person who always complains about
Okay.
the time and the message.
Would you
Yes.
stop, Batul? Unhappy with what?
What? Excuse me?
Unhappy with what?
He is unhappy of being born in this time, in this
Very
era.
good. With his present.
Yes, his present.
With his
Because
present.
he
Because
like
why he wept
he
the
admires
time he was
the
never
past.
born at this time. And at the
Yes,
end of the poem, it says that he was born too late. I mean
too late. Yes.
that where does he live? In the
He
far
lives
past,
in the
the time
yes.
of the Camelot, as Rahab said or wrote,
Yes.
right? The time of what? Of the chivalric, the time of the knights. Do you know like whom? Have you ever heard of someone called Don Quixote?
No.
Don Quixote?
Yeah, we have Don Quixote.
Don Quixote, Don
Yeah,
Quixote.
it's a satire of knighthood
Very
written
well,
by the
but
Spanish
okay,
author.
let's talk about the character, Rahaf. Right, I'm going to interrupt
Yeah.
the tool's main stream of ideas by saying,
Okay.
right, that Don Quixote was born too late. Why? Because he lived at the time of the knights. He wanted to be a hero at a time that doesn't know heroism. This is why it is considered a kind of what? Of sarcasm. So
Yes.
Meniver Chivi and Don Quixote, both of them have the same character. Born too late. They live at the time of the romance. They wish to be what? Living at the time of the Camelot. They wish to be knights where, all right, the swords are what? Bright, and the armor is also bright, but unfortunately they are born at the time that doesn't know heroism. And this is why Menevercivi wept that he was ever born. And Don Quixote lived the idea. He wanted to be a knight after long time ago when the knights came to an end. He looked for a horse, but he couldn't find a horse. So he rode a donkey. He looked for a sword, but there was no swords. So what? He carried a piece of wood, سيف خشبة, a piece of wood, and he wanted to what? To go against the armies, the enemies, but there are no enemies. So he was fighting the sheep. He wanted to kill dragons, but there are no dragons. So he started fighting what? The windmills. But he doesn't realize that he is living at a time that doesn't have what, ya Rahaf? Heroism.
Heroism.
Right? He is a hero at the wrong time. Menevercivi is a hero at the wrong time, but he cannot be a hero. So what does he say? Fate, I was born too late. I was born too late. And he kept on drinking. Kept on. Why? To escape from an ugly reality. What is the method of escaping of the ugly reality for Jimmy Porter? It is getting angry, not drinking. I am sorry, Batul, for interrupting you, but I'm considering myself as if I am in a real class. Continue, please.
Yes, sure. I want to say something that, according to what you said, sir, I think it's like whenever he has, it's like an argument that he can be a hero in his time by the techniques of this time. I don't like the idea that he wants to be a hero, but
Please,
he cannot
sister, or look at the screen, my screen. I am now telling you this. He dreamt of thieves and the Camelot. So he was aspiring to be what? A hero at the time of thieves, at the time of the Camelot. Don't tell me that what, okay? And the prime's neighbors. So he wanted to be a hero at a time that doesn't have heroism. أراد أن يكون بطلا في زمن لا يعرف البطولة.
Yes.
Are you done?
Just the idea, there's some common ideas that Nadia mentioned. I want to add something that I think this belief of the old times is a psychological one, because any era has its own pros and cons. So they may attach to the past because it became known for them, and something else that people only remember the positive side of the past. For example, when we mention, for example, the 60s time in the US, people mostly remember the fashion time, but they forget the racism at that time. This is this idea. And there's something else, that the last thing that I believe that Meniver wasted a lot of his time drinking rather than changing with time. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Batul. Rahma.
Yes, well, I was going to say what Batul said. She said it before me. Now, aside from the idea of being born in a different era and being born late and all of that, I think what Jimmy Porter and Miniver share is that they both have this romantic view of the past. Because believe it or not, Miniver is speaking about the 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 Middle Ages as if they were the ages of knighthood and chivalry and all of that. But we all know that that's just a myth. They're just legends and myths. We know the Middle Ages were horrible. They were like really, really, really horrible and very far from being chivalrous or and all of that. So he's not really being
Wait,
sensible
wait till
in,
we read. Wait,
in
right?
his.
Don't be decisive right now. Wait till we
Okay,
read. All right,
okay. Can I complete?
please.
Okay. While Jimmy Porter at the same time is looking at the Victorian era or that the Great Britain as a kingdom, as if it was the best thing in the world, while we all know how much oppression and how much the working class, which he belongs to, or let's say he belongs to the lower middle class, like those classes in specifically during the Victorian age suffered so much. Like their living conditions were just absolutely horrible. I'm gonna say it again. They were horrible, but yet he still thinks of them of the Victorian age as the era in which England flourished. That's
How,
number
how
one.
sure how sure are you of what you are saying? Do you have any proof from the text
About Jimmy Porter.
about loving his near past, the
Who, Jimmy or
Victorian
Miniver?
age?
Did
No, you want. You
it's
want fine.
what I concluded from
I'm
what
making
he,
short for you. You want fine, right? Wait
it's
till
just a
right.
conclusion.
Okay. It will be only 1 hour. استني بس ساعة واحدة, and we will prove the opposite.
Okay, another thing not mentioned by my classmates was that there's the stanza before the last, in which he says, Miniver scorned the gold he sought, but sore annoyed was he without it. Miniver thought and thought and thought and thought about it. So we have the same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy
Exactly.
scorns
But
the upper class. He
thinking,
hates
a
them.
lot of thinking, but do we have action?
Yeah, no, exactly. I want
Very
like this
good.
stands as 2 points.
Very
It has 2
good.
points.
Yes.
Number one, that he keeps thinking, and number two, he scorns the gold.
If you want
He
to
scorns the
change
upper
it,
class.
hold on. If you want to change these lines to make them apply to what? To make them to apply to what is his name?
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Jimmy
Right?
talked
Jimmy
and talked and talked and talked.
talked and talked about it.
Talked
But
about
did he
it.
do it?
Yes.
Then, okay, Jimmy Porter, born too late, scratched his head and kept on talking. Whenever بنسى اسمه. Jimmy and called it fate and kept on what?
Talking. Like, yeah, Jimmy, like the difference between Miniver and Jimmy is that Miniver seems very naive, but Jimmy is brilliant. Like he has ideas. He's very, like witty in his criticism. Like you can see that the person in front of you is clever, although he's extremely annoying, while Miniver seems to be a simpleton. Just to say it.
Both of them, hold on. Before you go to another idea, both of them, they sought gold. What do we mean by sought gold? At the time of Miniver Chivi, there was something.
Just mentioned that point.
Hold on. At the time
I mentioned that point. I said he scorned the gold he sought.
Yes, right. But annoyed was he without it. Yani,
Yes,
He wants money, but annoyed that he doesn't have that money, right? Yes.
like Jimmy hates the upper class. He hates their money. He hates their riches. But at the same time, he's living. He's very miserable because he doesn't have that money.
Hold on, Ante, you are not giving me a chance to explain what is the difference here between Jimmy and Miniver. At the time of Miniver in America, there was something called rush for gold. What is they considered America as the land of opportunity, the land of gold. Wherever they go, they will find a mine of gold. Wherever right they go, that the only opportunity for getting rich at that time in the United States, which is looking for gold. Even Miniver is coming from what? From mining, from the name Miniver, from mining or looking for gold. So he was looking for gold, but he never got it. He never got it. The same with what? With Jimmy is looking for money, but he never got it, and this is why he is annoyed.
Uh-huh. Yes, yes.
Anything else that you would like to add?
No, I'm done.
Thank you very much. Very thoughtful. Zainab?
Hello everyone. I'm going to read what I wrote in my prediction about
Please,
Miniver's reason.
go ahead.
The poem revolves around Miniver's wish to live in the Middle Ages. He would live in a medieval world full of heroes and knights in armor. He didn't accept his position in the real world and just lived in his dream. He chose the word minister to associate it with his dream, which means the white or grey fur that was used in earlier times for ceremonial robes of royals and nobles. Also, the word chivalry refers to chivalry, which means nobility and knighthood. He also used the medieval language when he said steed and rested from labors. A minister wishes that he lived in the past in the day of swords and warriors. He thinks that the past is better than modern days and it would make him happy. A
Thank you.
minister cried because he was never born and he had his reasons, which are he loves the olden days, which full of bright swords and horses. He will be happy if he lives in the days of a historical warrior. Also, he claims romance and art are not as beautiful as they were in the medieval times. He's obsessed with the Medici family and would do terrible things to be one of them, although he didn't meet any one of them. Also, one of his just a minute of his reasons is that he doesn't like the clothes of these modern days, like the khaki military uniforms, which will never be as valuable as the medieval suits of armor. And the last reason is that he hates
Oh yeah, go ahead. You're right.
he hates to chase after money, but he has to do that to be happy. So he spends all of his days just thinking about it. He repeated the word thought 4 times to show that all that Miniver does is think about his problems instead of
Helplessness, because
doing
he
anything.
cannot change it.
Yeah, he blames fate for his misfortune and unhappiness. He thinks that he was born at the wrong age, so he doesn't do anything but thinking of the past and drink. So Miniver just fantasizing about the past and darken his present life instead of doing something useful to make him happy. As what happened to Jimmy in the past, Jimmy's mother left him with his wounded father alone, and he just be with his father when he dies. So he has a bad and harsh past that affects his present also. He gets angry from that moment until now. So this anger affects negatively his life. So he is almost doesn't live his present. It's like because of his past, he lost his present. Both of them should focus on their present and don't miss out on all of the beautiful things that exist in their present because of their obsession in the past.
Thank you, Zainab. Thank
That's
you
it.
very much. Ziad.
Hello, doctor.
Okay.
After a close reading, I understood that the character doesn't satisfy with the modern era, where everything is changed, and she admires the past because she believes it is the
So
time of
this is a
heroism.
very good point, Ziad. Before you move, he thinks
Yes,
that everything is changing. He thinks
yes,
everything is changing. This is a
and replaced.
keyword. I want you to keep it. That nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. And this is exactly Jimmy Porter. Yes.
Yes, thank you. And she admires the past because she believes that it is the time of heroism, which is lost in the current era. That's my point in brief. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nada?
Yes, I want to reflect about Miniver that he hated the idea of having to chase after money. He was also very unhappy without it. So, such he ended up spending all his time thinking about money. He was born in the wrong era, and instead of doing anything with his life, though Minifer puzzled over his discontent and he blamed his unhappiness on fate, relieving himself of any responsibility and went on drinking. That's it.
Thank you, Nada. Anyone else? Well, now I will start by giving you an idea what I'm going to do. All right, according to the concept of time in literary analysis, we have two types of time. The first type of time, we call it individual time. I mean the time which is related to human beings. And we have another type of time, it is called the cosmic time. And this cosmic time is the one which is related to cosmos, to the world. I mean, the time of the world, or simply we can call it history. We call, all right, if I want to simplify things, we call the cosmic times history. As long as we are interested in the analysis of one character, our focus is going to be on the individual time rather than on the cosmic time. But the combination of both, the individual within history, it means life. It means life. What is life? It is a human being living through a certain time. A human being, which is individual time, living through a certain time, which is history, historical period. So life is consisting of both the individual time and the cosmic time. But as long as we want to analyze the character of Jimmy Porter, our focus is going to be right on what? On the analysis of characters and individualistic time. The individual time usually is called a timeline. It's called a timeline. Life, right? It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end, right? The beginning, we call it the past. We call it the past. The middle, what do we call it? We call it present. We call it the present. Okay. And this one, what do we call it? We call it the future, right? Can you see what I'm writing?
Yes.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
sir.
Fine. Well, so the human life is a timeline, consists of a timeline. This timeline usually has three periods: the past, the present, and the future, right? And people are divided into three main categories. Some people, they think that the past is good. The past is good. And they are not happy with the present, and the future is not guaranteed. I will repeat myself again. Some people, one type of people, I said, according to the timeline, right, that characters can be analyzed or they fall into three major categories. The first category of people who think that the past is good. The past is is better than the present. The past is better than the present. The present, they are not happy with the present, and they don't have guarantee in the future. So these people, this category, we call them that they have a linear time, and their linear time is going backwards. Is going backwards. And these people are usually romantic, people. They live in the good old days, the good old days. And most of the people are like that. Most of the people are not like that. Yani, right? Yani, you can say more than 50%. They think that the present is better than the future. Do you know why? Because everything is changing. Everything is changing. Another type of people, the second category, right, who are the leaders, innovative people, and entrepreneurs. They think that the future is better than the present. That they are not happy with the present, but they think the future, right, is better than the present, right? And the past was really ugly, right? A time of shambles, a time of ignorance, a time of massacres, a time of death, a time of, right? And these people, what do we call them? We call them the leaders, the entrepreneurs, the future makers, Their time is linear, but it moves forward. It moves forward, which is the opposite of the people whose time is moving backward. The third type of people, they are stuck with the present. They hate the past, and they don't guarantee the future. Again, they are stuck with the present. I mean, they are not happy in the present. And they are not happy with their own past. They are not happy with their own past. And they cannot guarantee the future. And therefore, these people, we call that their time is vertical, right? Moving upwards. They are living a permanent moment of now. A permanent moment of now. These people usually have psychological problem. They have a problem with the past, and they don't guarantee the future, or they think the future will be worse than the present. The first type, right, they are pessimistic people, but they live in the good old times in the past. The second type, this is number one. This is number two, right? Number two, these people, they are moving forwards, right? These people, they are, right, future makers, future leaders. These are optimistic people, like what Shelley says, right? The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The problem with those who have vertical time, which is number three. Why? Because they are standing still. They talk, they think and think, but at the same time, they are neither going backwards nor going forwards. They are living a permanent moment of now. Their time is stagnant. Do you know what I mean stagnant? Stagnant means standing still in a point. Sometimes they might have hope. If they have hope, their time will move forward, up. And sometimes they are down. And when they feel down, you will find their time will go down. According to the life of Jimmy Porter, let's talk about his personal past. His personal past is very ugly. Why? One, right? His mother left him while he is a child. Two, he witnessed his own father dying a moment after a moment. So he is angry with his own personal past. His past is ugly because of right, the betrayal of his mother, who is supposed to care but she never cared, and because he learned how to be angry and helpless at the same time when he was at an early age. And the future, right, to him, right, no one is going to what? To make it brighter. Why? Because the generation, they don't have ideas, they don't have conventions, they never care, and therefore the future is going to be worse than the present. So his time is actually a kind of a permanent moment of now, a stagnant time. He has a psychological problem. In order to escape from this psychological problem, like Meniver Chivi, where does he escape? He escapes to the far past. The far past. The time in which, okay, everything was good, not to the personal past, but to the far past, the time of heroes, the time of heroism, right? The time of romance, the time like Don Quixote. He wanted to be a hero at a time that doesn't know heroism. Let me explain this. Let me prove it. But I explain this. You can listen to it again and again. If you don't understand, because I don't want to waste the time, you can listen again to what I said. Let me prove it. I will change the slide in order to what? Bring your box and make them ready. All right. Okay, Jimmy Porter, we talked about animalistic imagery, right? Now, okay, his own near or close past is a past of pain, as I told you. بدنا نبدأ بالباست تبعته. Go to page number 57, please. Page number 57. Right. The last 1/3 of the page, I will read for you. For 12 months, I watched my father dying. Did you find it?
Yes.
الثلث الأخير من الصفحة. Find it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I
sir.
will start reading for you. The speaker is Jimmy. 10 أسطر من الأسفل الصفحة. For 12 months, I watched my father dying. When I was 10 years old, he would come back from the war in Spain, and you see, and certain God-fearing gentlemen there had made such a mess of him. يعني ناس بخافوا الله هناك عملوا فيه هيك مزعوه تمزع. Look how sarcastic he is. Again, I will read it. I was 10 years old. He would come back from the war in Spain, you see, and certain God-fearing gentlemen, يعني ناس بخافوا الله, right there, had made such a mess of him. He did not have long left to live. Everyone knew it. Even I knew it. I knew that what? But you see, I was the only one who cared. How about his mother? She never cared. How about his family? They never cared. Well, but you see, I was the only one who cared, right? His family were embarrassed by the whole business. كانت خجلانة منه عيلته, right? Well, go to the last line. We all of us waited for him to die. Waiting for your father to die, right? Why? The family, right, embarrassed, and he is a child, he doesn't know what to do. Go to page number 58, please. أنا حاطط نجمة لكم. There is a star on page number 58. All that foolish failure of a man had to listen to him was a small, frightened boy. So now he's talking about himself. What was he? He was a small, frightened boy. I spent hour upon hour in that tiny bedroom. He would talk to me for hours, pouring all that was left of his life to one lonely, bewildered little boy. So, what kind of a past? A past of a lonely, bewildered little boy, right? Who could barely understand half of what he said about his father, طبعا. All he could feel was the despair. So it was a past of despair and bitterness. It was a past of bitterness and the sweet, sickly smell of a dying man. This is his own close or near past, right? Past of despair, past of bitterness, of a sweet, sickly smell, of lack of understanding, bewilderment, loneliness, right? Without a mother, right? You see, I learned at an early age what it was to be angry. Angry and what? Angry and what?
And helpless.
Helpless.
And helpless. So if we want to say that his past is a past of pain, of anger, and helplessness, this is his own past, personal past. Also, there is another kind of pain at the same time, right? What is that? The pain of the present, the pain of he is not satisfied with the present. Why? Because it is a present of a frustration and pain, right? Why? This pain at the present is not actually a personal pain, but a collective pain. The pain of, right, which will indicate to us what type of a future will be. Go to page number 84, please. The last 5 lines, first 5 lines. Jimmy speaking. I suppose people of our generation are not able to die for good causes any longer. So now the pain here that this generation, they don't have good causes to die for. This what causes him frustration and pain. I suppose people of our generation are not able to die for good causes any longer. We had all that done for us. Yani they took all the good causes, right, from us, right? And they left us without any good cause to die for. When? Okay, in the 30s and the 40s, which means that he is not happy with the 30s and the 40s. He's not happy with the Victorian even time, right? When we were still kids. أخذوا منا كل حاجة، ما خلولناش حاجة. No good causes to die for. There are not any good, brave causes left. No, nothing to die for, right? We are living for nothing. We don't live for good causes. We don't die for good causes. If the Big Bang does come, Big Bang here is referring if there is a revolution. If there is a revolution comes, we will get killed off. We will die. Okay. If it won't be in the aid of the old-fashioned grand design, and this is not going to be for the help of the past old-fashioned people who has a grand design. No, it will not also help the people. What is going to help? To help the future and look at the future according his idea of the future. It will just be for the brave and new. Nothing very much. Thank you. يا سلام ما أروع هذا الزلم. يا سلام. One of the best novels in the 20th century is for Aldous Huxley, and it is called The Brave in New World. The Brave in New World. Thank you, Rahaf. Right? This brave new world in which he talks about the problem of the present looking for a better future. And the brave new generation will make a better future. But to Jimmy, because he is educated, highly educated, he considers that there is no a brave new generation. He is being sarcastic with Aldous Huxley. And what does he call it? Brave knew nothing. Thank you very much. Yani even the generation will never do anything for the future. The future is also as going to be as dark as the present now. So if a revolution comes as expected by Aldous Huxley, it will be for the sake of the brave knew nothing. Very much, thank you. So the future also is dark, and therefore, what is he? He is like Meniver Chivi, is stuck in the present, but he needs what? Something. Okay, why? Because unchanging future. What makes him angry, right? The future is what makes him angry. The future is as dark as the present, and therefore he escapes to the far past, as I told you. Escapes to the far past. His time is vertical time of helplessness, right? Sometimes if he is playing the game of squirrel and bear, his time will go up. But if he's in a state of variance, his time will go down. His time will go down. And therefore, what can we say here, right? We can say the following, that he holds the values of the far past, far, not near, because the near past is painful, which are not suitable for the present, which means that he is born too late. He's born too late. How can we prove it? Open the books with me. He's born too late. Let's go to أول حاجة page 45 يا جماعة. Open with me, page 45. The speaker is Allison. The speaker is Allison. Allison knows her own husband. فهماه كويس. But at the same time, she doesn't follow his own desires. This is a kind of stupidity. At the bottom of the page, Allison says, Jimmy went into battle. So he considers his life as a form of a battle. He went into battle with his axe swinging round his head. Like whom? Like the knights, the heroes at the time of the romance. Okay, his axe swinging round his head, frail and full of fire. I had never seen anything like it. Right? He's a knight at the time. But look at this. The old story of knights. هذه اللي حكتها مين؟ مرته. It means that escaping to what? Of the knight in a shining armor, except that his armor did not really shine very much. عارفين ليش؟ ليش his armor was not shining؟ لأنه سيفه خشبة. عشان هيك ما كانش بيلمع. مين كان سيفه خشبة يا جماعة؟ دون كيهوتي اللي قلت لكم عنه دون كواكسوت. لما قلت لكم he wanted to look for a sword but he couldn't, and therefore right he carried what? Carried a piece of wood. حمل خشبة بدل ما يعمل سيف. So his Allison is saying that her husband is a Don Quixote. He's a knight. The old story of the knight in a shining armor. Okay, يعني سلاح بيلمع. بس في فرق واحد انه سلاحه رايت ما كانش بيلمع. ليش؟ لانه خشبه. Because it is a piece of wood. Let's go to page 86, please. Page 86. On page 86, the one who speaks, and حاطط a star. حاطط ايه؟ A star. The speaker is Jimmy. The speaker is Jimmy. شايفين في ستار محطوطة. But then when people put down their weapons, it doesn't mean they have necessarily stopped fighting. So he considered himself a knight, and he is temporarily putting his own weapon. What is his own weapon? As we said last time, his anger. But does that mean the conflict is resolved? No, the fighting is still going on, but he is helpless to finish it. Let's go to page number 80, please. وهنحط لكم كمان علامة. Helena talks about Jimmy at the bottom of the page. من عند بداية العلامة. I couldn't believe that you could have married someone like that, Alison. It's all over between Jimmy and me. I can see it now. I have got to get out. No, listen to me. When I saw you standing there tonight, I knew that it was utterly wrong, that I did not believe in any of this, and not Jimmy or anyone. لا مش هذا عفوا. Okay, at the top of the page, Helena, at the top of the page.
Do you know?
Now, do you know, I have discovered what is wrong with Jimmy, right? It is very simple, really. He was born out of his time. He was born, was he supposed to be, right, born? He was supposed to be born at the time of the romance. Do we have a proof? Yes. Alison, المشكلة إنها عارفة. Look, Alison, yes, I know. يعني معناته his wife knows him. And although she knows him, but she cannot follow his own desires. Helena, there is no place for people like that any longer. هدول زمان ماتوا. ما فيش لهم مكان. بنكمل. Right? In sex or politics, anything. That's why he is so futile, corrupt and futile. Futile means doing nothing. Sometimes when I listen to him, I feel, right, he thinks he is still in the middle of the French Revolution. So this is where he belongs, to the time of the revolution, the time of the knights, right? بس هدول ماتوا زمان ماتوا. عمل لي فيها فارس هلقي ما فارس مات in the French Revolution, and that's where he ought to be. Of course, he doesn't know where he is or where he is going. He will never do anything. زي مين Everchivi will talk and talk and talk, then what? Will talk. He will never do anything, and he will never amount to anything, like Meniver Echivi. So how can we analyze his own character? We say he is a modern Don Quixote. He is a modern Don Quixote, Don Quixote القرن العشرين. Jimmy Porter is Don Quixote القرن العشرين. He is a Meniver Chivi. He is a Meniver Chivi, right? And therefore, we can say that this is, psychologically speaking, right? This man belongs to another time. So we analyzed his own character according to the time theory and the timeline. I hope you understood what I said for today. If you did, يعني الله يعطيكم ألف عافية. Did you, Rahaf?
Yes, he did, wallah, yes.
Rahaf?
Yes, we understood.
Amazing. Go ahead. You have something to say?
Yes, we understood. What I wanted to say is about what Helena said. Like when I first started reading the play, I remember I was thinking and reflecting, and I basically said the same thing. It's like people like Jimmy will never be anything but angry. They won't do anything. They won't make any change. They'll just be angry and stay angry. Like people
Why?
like
You know
Jimmy.
why? Because he is stuck in the prison. And do you know what?
Yes.
He doesn't know the future is going to be better. And do you know why? Because the generation is the brave knew nothing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's the kind of person who wants a revolution, but does not have the character, responsibility, or mentality to be the one to start it. If you know what I mean.
No, he
Like
doesn't
he'll
rely on
just
the
sit
herd.
and say
He
things.
doesn't rely on the herd. They don't have no convictions, right? No enthusiasm. He doesn't have a herd like a lonely bird. And this generation is not a generation of revolution. The time is a wrong time. بدنا نعاود
Yeah.
نعيد كمان مرة. It's a wrong time.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, anyone else?
No, it's not maybe. I just said it like that. It's not maybe. Yeah, it's convincing, but it's like my point is he won't ever make any kind of change. He'll only
Right.
be angry
If you
forever.
want to be a good analyst, depend on the text. I'm not talking to Rahaf, I'm talking to everyone. Read the text well, read it again, and depend on the text of analyzing everything. If you don't depend on the text, it means your analysis is fake. Anyone else? Do you have any question? Khulud?
Yes, I was actually wondering if we can compare Jimmy's character in terms of time
صوتك
to
بعيد يا
Allison's
خلود، مش
father.
سامعك. صوت في حد سامع خلود ولا المشكلة عندي أنا؟ عندك مشكلة في المايك.
سامعين عادي.
تفضل يا خلود.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
No.
Yes, I can hear.
يلا again, try again.
Okay, so I was wondering if we can like compare the character of Allison's father in terms of time to Jimmy.
Okay. Do you know they are two opposites? One of the nice, all right, when احنا حنيجي للanalysis of her father ما تخافيش يعني. Okay, that Allison knows what is the difference between her father and Jimmy. Why? Because she says that to my father everything okay is changing, and to Jimmy, right, everything is the same. She's talking about the present. So in the present, it is unchanging. Why? Because he's not moving forwards and he's not moving backwards. He is moving up and down. So nothing is changing. But her father, because he used to be, okay, a kind of an aristocratic person in India, right? He found that the modern time is completely changing, completely. So both of them are two opposites. The problem of her father that everything is changing, but the problem of Jimmy that nothing changes, nothing changes. So if we want to connect both of them, they are both two opposites, but they agree on one thing, right? That, okay, that Allison's mother is not good. Anything else? Okay then. الله يعطيكم العافية ونكمل المرة القادمة بإذن الله. يلا السلام عليكم.
Thank you.